Travellers don't know people, just stories. Enter. Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Roadwarden. We're going to just continue straight on with our save here. So we've been, we've been booted out of Howler's Dell following our failed rebellion. We've had the living daylights beaten out of us by Tyus's guards, and I don't think we're going to be welcome there anytime soon. So here we are. Well, that was certainly a thing. Certainly a thing. Need a bit more money to go see Dalit. So I guess we're going to go to White Marshes, and there's certainly at least one quest we need to sort of close off there. A tiny vole, as brown as the short grasses, is washing its fur at the edge of a puddle, but jumps into it once it notices your arrival. Thyrsus is sitting on the bench, observing your arrival as he grinds something in a mortar. Once you greet him, he leaves his tools behind and moves to the edge of the scarp. The creepers idly hang from his arms, resting on the ground. I know from experience there's a lot of tempting things here. But I am trying to save up some money. It's Thyrsus that has this bug-killing ointment that I think we can use on the watchtower. Actually, let's take it, because I expect the Ela the carpenter will pay us for clearing the bugs and making the watchtower habitable, so maybe that's worth doing. I'd like him to open the path to White Marshes. Oh, he wants food rations. Well, we've actually got a fair few of those, so that's probably okay. Very fine. He licks his lips, and once he spots a piece of jerky among your gifts, he reaches for it right away. With a full mouth, he snaps his fingers and mutters something with satisfaction. Right, we can travel to White Marshes now. The village is filled with the unbearable noise of construction, yet the undead labourers take no breaks, don't gasp for air, don't stop to look around. The locals avoid them or scowl at them whenever they get close. I should tell the woman about her pouch. She's just at the edge of the yard, keenly observing you, and as you approach her, she once again leads you further away from the gate, this time behind a turf house. She reaches out to you with an open palm and speaks quietly. "May the right breast bless you, stranger." The pouch was torn and rotten. The only dragon bone I found. Okay, well, that's one of my 2 remaining dragon bones gone there. She looks at the sky, then to the ground. For 2 heartbeats, she can't stop herself from revealing the despair in her eyes. But she then adjusts her headscarf, takes a deep breath, and moves her shoulders. "I have not even a fistful of blueberries to thank you, stranger. But I'll tell the rest of the village you're a trustworthy messenger, if anyone asks. Hardly anyone does round here." She hobbles away, splashing mud with every step. I think of all the villages in the peninsula, I think White Marshes is probably my least favourite. Gale Rocks were very hostile initially, but the more you do there, they actually open up to you. Even Severina, the headwoman, she starts to appreciate, you once you start to do things for them. But White Marshes just seems quite depressing, very poor. There's not much to do here. And everyone seems to hate you, so I'm not terribly keen on it. Valens, he's the guy we took the Dear John letter to. Let's go and say hi to him. He's moving small packages, bringing order to some neglected shelves. His eyes are red from crying, but he greets you with a strong voice and a polite smile. This time he's wearing a decent blue tunic. "Back with us, Sir Boring? It's been a long time since I saw someone visiting our home as often as you do." That's how my job works. I go where others don't. He gives you a long look as if he's not sure it's meant to be an insult, and then turns back to the bags. "I'm looking after our grain and dried meat before fall comes, thanks to," he draws in the air and lowers his voice, "Rentius's help. We've more food than in many years, but now we need to figure out what goes onto our bellies and what back to the soil. I may have some supplies I could spare. Want to take a look?" I'm going to hang on to my rations, honestly, for 1 dragon bone. Yeah, I think so. Well, we go see Helvius, I suppose. He meets your eyes, waiting for you to speak. have some weird... Anything he's interested in buying? The quarrels? No, I don't think so. Might need those. It will sabotage Tyus's plans, but you may help me get his trust. You need to strengthen your guards. You tell him everything you've learned from her, though he has little patience and keeps glancing towards Orentius's hut. Between his questions, his leg flinches a bit, as if he's stopping himself from running away. I don't know what she did to get you that you now go against her. He breathes heavily, cracking his knuckles and raising his poleaxe, but we'll be ready for her. We avoid giving weapons to our workers, but it's time for some changes. He tells everyone in sight to prepare for a gathering and selects a few people to spread the news. You, on the other hand, think about Tice. Mentioning what you did may not be the safest idea. Well, I doubt I'm going back to her anytime soon. That bridge is already burnt. I don't need to mention it to her. Still doesn't trust me enough. Used to sell wood, correct? He nods in approval. Oh, in the old days, our firewood warmed up all walls and toes on this side of Hag Hills. But Gale Rocks in the far north built its own hamlet for woodcutters, and Howler's Dell grew a fine garden for themselves, just to get by without us. They have oaks, cherries, and their own darker birches. They've no more reason to trade with us other than peat. You glance at the buildings. While they are indeed new, most settlements in the province would view them as crude and cramped. I don't want to tell him about the woman who asked me to find her savings, so I guess that's pretty much us done for White Marshes. One of the undead workers drops a basket of foraged cranberries and leaves, maybe because its shell is too weak, or maybe because it received a poorly phrased order. It then stays still, waiting for further instructions. So we'll look at our journal. Explore the peninsula. That's our main task. It's basically everything we've done. A new life, no, find the Roadwarden. Well, we're working towards that, that's what we're doing. Gathering a crew feeds into that. Cask of cider, well, we're not going to tell Foggy about that. Anything else we could tell to Orentius? Not at this moment. And then there's the runaway, who Glaucia's looking for. What have we got? We've got 3 hours 45 until nighttime. Exactly what we need to get to Gale Rocks. Creeks is a bit closer. And then what are we doing? What are we doing post that? I don't know. Got to save up some money. Well, I suppose I want to go back to this watchtower, don't I? Kill off the bugs, maybe return to... Well, definitely return to Elar and hopefully get paid for that. I don't have any gifts for the Traveller Green Mountain. Something about this nest, I still can't get there. I've got to go and give some rations to this guy at some point to get let through, but then I don't know why I would want to go back through there, really. Let's go to Creeks. A guard leaning from the watchtower warmly welcomes you with a shout, though the wind distorts the words. Well, we could wash ourselves. An hour? That's... Maybe we'll do that in the morning. Ela? We made any more progress? I've made a deal with the Eudocia. Her sentinels are going to look after the road that surrounds the watchtower. The description of the golems makes him tighten his shoulder cloak. When he grabs the casket, he holds it tightly. And you're sure they aren't going to attack anyone? Seeing your unconvinced smile, he counts down 3 bones without looking at them, lost in his thoughts. I take them from his hand. I need them. How much have I got now? Only 4. I need 2 more. I'll let him know if there's anything else. A brook ford leading to the heart of the woods won't support wagons and carts. Alright. Why can't I sleep here? I'd like to learn more about the peninsula. Our tribe won't be of much of a help there, he admits while judging the harsh surface of a small plank. It was our parents who did all the travelling, and they did so while we were kids, or not yet born. Most of them are already gone. Most of us travel no farther than to Foggies, and only when we have to. Have you ever met the tribe of the Green Mountain? A chisel falls out of his hand. When he reaches for it, he looks around, making sure there's no one around. Not really. When I was a kid, I saw the older tribesfolk speaking with them. In the old speech, I think. They aren't around anymore, but I've heard we owe them a lot. I'll see you later. I'm concerned by not being able to rest here. Foggies. Let's travel there. You hear a commotion coming from the lake, drawing your eyes to the air bubbles and water ripples. After a couple of moments, a scrap of the lake turns red. The tavern staff is sitting on the stairs enjoying the light in silence as they share a roasted fish. Enter the tavern. She still doesn't trust me very much. I mean, I did give her cider away, I suppose, but she doesn't know that. We could eat in the morning. Let's just. What can we ask her about the peninsula? Nah, I don't really know what to ask for. Although, does she know about statue of a woman? I might ask her about that. That old gal from Gale's Rocks told me it's the Wanderer, a spirit who looks after travellers. She's centuries old, the spirit, not the statue, and needs gifts, just a little bit of this and that to pay for her own food and shelter. At her feet one should spare an apple, a dragon bone, even a pretty pebble. Those who skimp on her will one day be in need, and will see a woman with a staff on the horizon, too busy with her own struggles to help them. Foggy frowns, moving the scars on her forehead. But how do we know what these travellers saw? Beats me. Okay, is there anything else then that we can ask her about? Oops, I wanted to go to the map. Anything else mysterious? Does she know about the nest? I could try. What? Never heard of it. It's set at the mountain road leading to the tribe of the Green Mountain. I tell her all about it. She taps her lips with two of her sausage-like fingers. Who knew such beasts lived so close? Not that I want to go there, but an egg. Ha, that would be something to see, eh? All right, this is all right. What else can we ask her about? Nothing else that's a bit mysterious for us right now. Not really. I kind of know what the giant is. It's probably fine, to be honest. Thanks, Foggy. Okay, let's go to sleep. And I'm gonna do my Numa thing. I think I'm gonna have to rent to get my health back. We could spend 2 rations. I've got more rations than coins. Let's do that. Right, well this is the same text we always get. Basically we've woken up with Foggies, so I'd like to eat. Thank you. Time to go. I think we're very dirty, but we can't clean up at Foggies. Travel. So where was I going to head next? We're going to head to the abandoned watchtower and then maybe go up and get paid at Creeks. You take a short ride through the roads surrounding the tower. The branches, rocks, plants and bones are cleared, the trail evened out, and in many spots you notice large prints left by boulder-like feet. Eudocia has kept her word. Crossing these hills should be much easier now. Good. Hopefully a bit quicker as well. Alright, let's go in the we bought that stuff, didn't we? I think we did. Enter the tower. You're at the ground floor of the watchtower. Dozens of little creatures run away from the new source of light. I should spread the bug repellent around, at least they won't bother me in my sleep. You open the jar, releasing the pleasant herbal sweetness. You take a stick and use it like a brush, spreading the ointment near the larger pieces of furniture, under which you'd expect to find the colonies of worms and insects. You also put it at the top of and inside the pallets, as well as around the windows, under the door and in the corners. The remaining balm finds its place in a couple of holes that you spotted between the bricks. In less than half an hour, you already see roaches that either lie still or kick their legs desperately while on their backs. I put the empty jar on a table. Maybe something will fly into it. You're at the ground floor of the watchtower. It's weirdly quiet here and you see almost no movement. I go outside. Don't have anything to cook at the campfire. How much money have we got now? 4. If you could give us just a couple of dragon bones, that would allow us to recruit Dalit to our crew. Let's go to the creek first. We are extremely filthy. In an hour I'll remove bloodstains from my clothes. Let's do that. We can jump in the stream. Right, well, we've cleaned our clothes at least. Let's go see Ela. He's trying to carve something on the surface of a wooden mug, but you don't recognise the shape. He smiles and puts away his tools. Welcome back, friend. Good to see that you stay safe on the roads. I've made some additional progress with the eastern path. The watchtower is clear and ready for new guards. Oh, that's a relief. He reaches for the case so quickly that he misestimates the distance. It falls on the ground with a clatter like a fistful of dice, and instead of collecting everything right away, he picks up 2 of the dragon bones that are rolling towards him. I need to make another one anyway, he says to himself and pays you, asking about the place. You mention the bugs, the rotten barrels, the moisture. The man nods with enthusiasm. Oh, so we can hide there at any point. We'll need to discuss it with our friends at Gale Rocks. And it was quite an expensive balm, you know, the one for the bugs. I give him a meaningful look. He nods, without even listening, but he notices your eyes. He sighs and reaches for another coin. I smile. Surprised you keep finding something to do. This land really is a mess. I could have done something about that brook. Ford, maybe. He blows at the shavings, sending them flying to settle on the ground, and then considers the next tools to select. See you later. Maybe we can... Was it old Hava who was actually the one who's kind of stopping us from sleeping here? We were talking about the room. Aye, the tribe says you're worth keeping around. I'll show you your scrap of floor. She leads you to the main square where a few people wave at you, then simply pushes open the door of a building that's near the northern bridge. On a bench next to the entrance, a young, visibly pregnant woman is leaning against the wall. Her bare feet are stretched out and make small circles, warming up before taking a walk. A new neighbour, she warmly announces. Finally free from inns and caves, eh? Before you respond, you hear Hava's frustrations. I'm done waiting. I follow her inside. The house is a single large chamber, airy and bright. While the door has no lock, a massive bar that may be used to barricade it is right at hand, and the shutters seem just as safe. Signs of the residence are spread on the floor, shelves, tables, stools, and inside an open chest. At first they seem disorderly, but you then recognise that the sleeping spots under the walls are surrounded with items of distinct purpose, such as tools or toys. While there's not much privacy to be found here, there's still some sense of ownership and attachment to objects and spaces. As you've already seen, the lives of the locals takes place outside. You recognise but one shape, sleeping in a corner, a guard you've seen before, resting after a night shift. Your guide is standing above another corner, next to an open window. It's the only spot that's free of clothes and other odds and ends. You're the 8th dweller, so be quiet during the night time, and be clean at all times. That's it. She turns around and leaves you with a large roll of furs, on which you spot no dust or dirt. Okay. I look at the empty corner, my new home, and sit down for a bit. I place around a few small things of mine as a mark of ownership. Okay. 5.5 hours before dusk. Roach snorts at a group of kids that are trying to pull its tail. You tell them to run to their grandpa. Right, where can we get? We could get all the way down to the Pelt of the North, in fact. See Dalit. Is there anything anything else I want to do on the way? I mean, there's that ford, isn't there? But we can actually sleep at the watchtower now. Let's go and have a look at that ford and see if there's anything we can do there. You ride by a patrol from Creeks that's escorting a cart loaded with timber. They greet you politely, mentioning the growing safety on the roads. As you ride further, you notice the fresh coat of pebbles covering the muddier scraps of the trail, the trimmed shrubs, and the cleared tufts of grass. From now on, it should be easy to cross the path between Foggy Lake and the village. Nice. Finally, the locals are waking up. The water is unusually clean. Frogs croak on the banks loudly. So let me just have a quick look at my journal. So where is... Oh, it's probably not even on here. I suppose it might be mentioned. Something about a ford for carts, wasn't it? I thought it was here, but... Is it somewhere else? I mean, we got the money now for Dalet, haven't we? So I think that's probably the main thing. Have a look at the Riverside Turn, see if there's anything more to do there. Was that a place that we could do stuff? The blue sky is filled with the rustling of trees and the songs of birds. A red furry critter gets startled by your arrival and runs away. I'm not going to wash myself in the river. Probably just get eaten by something. So we're going to travel onwards to Pell to the north then. Yeah, they're moaning at me again like they did last time. Okay, let's go into the inn. I've already asked Julia to join our expedition. She's not interested. The scavenger wasn't even an option. Is there anything to do here but rest? Probably not. Or sleep. Free rent now, sleeping in a room. A comfy bed with a clean blanket in an isolated chamber. You'll also get a large breakfast, a wash tub with water and soap and some cloves to wash your teeth. Very nice. Rent 0. That's me likey. So we're going to get an extra quadrant of health anyway. And a bit cleaner, so that's all good. Rent 0. Can't beat that. So we've got a free place to sleep in the north and the south now. Any leftovers? Yep, you're lucky. Oh, that's not his voice. Yep, you're lucky. I was planning to give it to the boar. He goes to the stove and in a couple of minutes prepares you a meal. Here. You see bacon, an apple and a cup of birch sap. While you're eating, he asks if you need anything else. I think we'll go outside. We want to approach the guards. Let's see, how much do I actually have? I could stand to lose one. But getting 3 would be nice. Let's try the dice. We lost one. Okay, never mind. Well, let's negotiate the price of her help. It's probably the same. Oh, 5 dragons. She's getting lower. 5. Here you go. She pays little attention to the few bones you hand her and approaches the beast quickly. Her short posture only emphasises its enormous size. You clasp your hands to form a step, letting her get into the saddle, and preparing her to walk around the yard. In actuality, it's you who's holding the lead. Roach, disorientated by the rider's unconvinced touch and her anxious gasps, welcomes having you by its side. As the hunters gather on the walls observing these events, and drawing Dalet's attention by calling her name and jokingly commenting on her transparent fear, their cheer makes you think of the market square. The worried but honest laughter of your companion is like a child's, and for a few moments unbothered by the events of the outside world. Finally, you help the guard get down. She's sweating, but her smile is as radiant as always. She spreads her arms. I embrace her, why not? Her arms are strong. She smells of water from the local well, but also of mud. Before she steps away, she pats your back a few times. Alright. Got Dalet's help then. Don't think we can achieve any more at the well. We're looking in pretty good shape again, it must be said. Well, it's morning time. How many days have we got left? 8 days. Right. I don't think I'm going to achieve much of any more that I need to do. lot of completed quests, though. I think it might be time to go to the boat. Get there in 3.5 hours. Got 3 helpers. I think it's 3, might be 4, but I think it's 3. I haven't seen anyone else I can ask. I don't have the permission of the Green Mountain people, but I don't know what to do about that at this point. I wonder if Quintus would come. Let's go and talk to the gate guy. Might be worth trying the monks as well. The clopping of your palfrey carries... Not sure about that. The clopping of your palfrey fills the silent corridor of rocks. Quintus is standing by the bushes, observing a snake pierced with his spear. Before he turns towards you, he licks his lips. Salutations, Warden. You hear about the gate? Have you ever heard about High Island? Yeah? Oh, I heard all right. You can see it's a volcano from old Pagos. The monks said it's a weird place, but also a tale for the worthy. You ask him if he knows this tale, and he glances in the direction of his home. Nah. But seriously, you're tempted in the forest. You need to seek shelter. Nah. He waves it off with a smile, but once he speaks, his voice cracks. Where would I go anyway? I mean, any of these really, apart from Howler's Dell and White Marshes. Gale Rocks isn't very welcoming. Creek seems nice. Yeah, that's not too bad, I guess. He gives you a long look. But they don't let people stay with them. That's what the tavern is for. Know what? I could spend some time with Pelt's crew again, but I can't afford to stay now from until spring. Unless they're looking for a pair of hands, I better stay here. The people of Gale Rocks are not going to support Gloucester any longer. Her role in the peninsula will dwindle. He looks around and reaches towards his bandage, raising it like a mask. Did you do this? He starts to explain and his voice lowers to a whisper. No, don't bother. I don't follow all this anyway. All I need to say is that this land needed someone like you. Don't you miss fresh, warm food? He lets out a hiss and raises his chin proudly, but after another breath he licks his lips. So the thing that stops you from going to Pelt right away is dragon bones. I mean, that's a pretty big thing in the north. Everyone looks after themselves. The hunters may be my friends, but I won't beg them for help. Could ask the innkeep to let him stay for labour. Okay. I should do that. Why not? Yeah, let's go back to the Pelt, and then we'll do a little shuttle thing over here. Can the armourer do anything for me? No, apparently not. Enter the inn. Let's go to the innkeeper. There's his gatekeeper, Quintus. He looks at a mug, listening to your tale. So what do you expect me to do with him once he's here? You can handle some easy tasks, asking to be on the lookout for the beasts and travellers. The hunters can do this and much more. They don't drink as much. He glances at the stairs and rubs his arm gently. But I guess they won't refuse some looser hours. Bring him here. I offer him gruel and a corner to sleep, but I won't pay him unless he proves himself. Sounds pretty good. Pretty good deal for Quintus. We got 7 hours. We can get there in 3, say. And then what will we do? Well, we could probably get to Foggy's again. Or maybe even just come back here, possibly. Or we could sleep with the elders. That sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. Okay, let's go to the gate then. We'll tell Quintus the good news. Same thing. About your duty. Yeah, what's there to say? Laison will allow you to stay at his inn. You'll help him as a guard on the walls, but he won't pay you unless you can prove yourself. He crosses his arms, still hesitant. Yeah, I guess that's fair. But what before that? Am I to live on oats and water in rags? If you're really this desperate for coins, I could spare you. I can't spare him if you've only got one. Eight coins? You already helped me quite a bit. I can't ask you for that. Alright, let's return later. You open the gate? I don't really want to go in the forest. So... I would quite like to go and see the monks and old Pagos before I decide to leave. I could do that. I'd have 3 hours. That might be enough to get to Foggies from there. But I'm not sure. I don't really want to get stranded again. It might be safer to stay with the elders. Alright, how much time do I have? 4 hours. So it's an hour to old Pagos. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Alright, nothing else I can think of. I guess we'll go to have a chat with the monks. We might be able to spend the night here, actually. A large red saurian is lying in the middle of the path, basking in the sun, but flees at your sight, climbing down the rocks as if they're a floor. A few monks are training in the yard, clashing their wooden staves loudly. A colourful smoke leaves one of the cave mouths. You call the monks by hitting the sticks, and the drawbridge lowers. Eli welcomes you with a cheerful wave of his bandaged hand. "Salutations, glad to see thee in one piece." His young companion is right next to him, observing the sky with a wide grin. Plague is... about the things you asked me to do. I want to collect my reward, a secret. Tell me about High Island. I think he's already told us this. Has he not? He's just telling us, or maybe it was the elder who told us this as well. So let's read this. "Art thou asking me for a history lesson?" He looks you in the eyes. "Or is that where thou art heading next?" "A bit of both," you put simply, and he clears his throat. "Then I'll not bore myself with the details. Thou can see the island from the coast. It's the largest scrap of land that can be reached in a few hours, though it's easier said than done. The ships can't cross the waters from here to there, while a boat won't reach the top of the cliffs that surround it. It sticks out from the ocean like a rock, thou seest, and is as wild as the deepest woods." He rubs his hand. "A single tribe used to live there, the tribe of the Green Mountain. They were thrown away by the army of Hovleven, crushed. But there used to be days, centuries ago, when they were trading with other northerners." He looks you in the eyes, making sure you're listening. "Reach the eastern coast, or the wall of High Island, in the middle of the night, when the water is at its highest. A waterfall there, who knows which one, hides a cave that used to serve as a harbour for fishers. With some rope, you can climb up the rocks." A long pause. "A few souls tried to reach the volcano in the heart of the island, for some say it hides the treasure of the tribe. This place is but a grave now, the lair of beasts. Now be wise and never use what I told you. I'll make no promises." "The plague is gone. Can I spend tonight here?" He scowls at you, and then first at you, and then at Decima, who observes the sky carelessly. After a few silent heartbeats, he lets out a grunt. "Maybe in the storehouse, but don't not think that I'm going to look after the horse or cook for thee. All thee canst get is a roof for thy head." We've got 2 3/4 hours. I don't know if that's going to be enough to reach Foggies, so... It's already plenty, I appreciate it. Just don't tell the others. Right, 2 hours 45. Yeah, so we can't get to Foggies. We could get to the Elder's Cave. But it's not going to be any more comfortable. Yeah, okay. Let's sleep then. Sleeping in a shed. There's a pile of hay on which you can lay down. There's something calming about the rustling leaves and the wind that batters the walls like a gentle thunderstorm. Gonna get hungry and we're gonna get a little bit dirtier, but that's probably okay. Muddy roads. Deep joy. You listen to the wind, then to the stream, then fall asleep unable to focus on your own thoughts. You wake up after a couple of hours, disturbed by a loud clap of thunder, or was it a dragon's roar? You can't say. You spend some time awake, listening to the peaceful breathing of roach and rolling over in the old hay. You even take a brief walk indoors, stretching your arms and neck. You're both anxious and tired, with dreams and thoughts merged in an incoherent, aimless mass of impressions and half-real noises. When you lie down, you feel paralysed, struggling to take a deep breath. It takes a long time before you close your eyes, but even when it happens, you have the feeling that someone is watching you with a pair of bright, grey eyes. Who had grey eyes? Was it Tice? Might have been. After waking up, I'm not sure which parts of the night truly happened. Nice restful night. Rochelle feels weaker than your soul. During your morning routine, your eyes remain a bit cloudy. You keep looking around, time and time again, making sure that no one is watching you. The first few monks are entering the yard, carrying their tools and whispering lazy conversations as they wash themselves in the brook. Soon after that, Aeli knocks on the door of the shed and opens it. His companion is holding her hands behind her back, giving you the charming smile of an innocent child. Creepy. Okay, let's have one of our rations. We've got a fair few of those. Apologies if you can hear the barking in the background. Not quite sure what's setting the dog off. Right, let's travel to... It's going to take 4 hours to get there, but that's not quite enough. They say night time, don't they? But it might take us a bit of time to sail over there, you know, so... Right, okay, yeah, let's go to the fish. You need to take exactly 4 people with you, and so far, 4 souls would be willing to join you. To leave with the crew, you need to start preparations in the morning. Before leaving, better make sure you're well prepared to face the unknown. Ooh, let's gather my crew. You need to take 4 souls with you. Aegidea, the free-spirited archeress. Dalet, the leader of the big game hunters. Ephron, the mostly careful trapper. And Zwei, the hired cutthroat. These are my crew. Ooh, finally doing it. You and your companion shove the boat into the water. You take a deep breath of the chilling air. You adjust your clothes, but even their second layer is barely enough to keep you warm in the breeze. You stare into the night and listen to the roaring waves. The seagulls jump between the teeth-like rocks, seeking food and rest, unaware of Ephron's hungry glances. You look around. Roach is hidden inside Aegidea's cabin, but you doubt it's going to have a good sleep. You turn towards the others. Got a rough few hours ahead, but stick together and we're all going to make it. I hadn't seen this much water ever. So loud and angry. Dalet's whisper addresses no one in particular. Zwei covers himself with his black cloak tightly. Obviously, someone has to row back this toy. You get in the boat and grab the planks, not used to the swaying. We can do this. The first few minutes are the slowest. You push off the sharp rocks with the oars and even your arms, but the restless waves charge at the boat again. Above the dark, salty waters through the bright night, you can see the outline of High Island. You get used to the rhythm of rowing. Your allies are focused on the struggle at hand. Rowing will be harsh, better to take turns. The waves in the deeper water get tall enough to splash your lips. That's when the harpies take their chance. The pack, a few monsters strong, lowers their flight, seeking an opportunity to strike. They're fluttering. Bat-like wings try to oppose the wind. The creatures are smaller than goblins, with ape-like features and talons that make you think of a parrot. It's too dark to tell the colour of their fur. I do have a magic option, grabbing my wand at the cost of 3, but this is why I bought my crossbow, so time for my crossbow. After your quarrel hits a harpy's hip, the creature tries to fly for a bit longer, but soon crashes into the water and disappears beneath the surface. The other beasts, confused at first, get even closer. Dalet turns towards you with a quarrel in her teeth, which make her look like she's grinning widely. If you can, shoot them. Edgedeer's arrows cause havoc and keep you safe for another few breaths. The shells of harpies hit the water only to get dragged away by the waves. Dalet releases only one quarrel before she reaches for an axe, but her powerful shot tears off a harpy's head. The dead shell sinks like a rock. The remaining members of the pack take no more chances. They spread in various directions, seeking shelter among the tusk-like rocks. Great job, everyone. After rowing for an hour or so, you leave the coastal rocks behind. The fierce waterfall ahead won't be too difficult to reach, but if it's not the spot that hides the old harbour, the wasted effort and cold winds will surely exhaust you before you find it. You look north. There's another waterfall there, a much gentler one. Zwei's high voice is grim. Well? I don't know. Let's have a quick look at the journal, just in case there's something here about this. Groups and places? Is there a high island? Okay, here we go. The island surface is high above the water, but the only way to get there is to reach it during night time. Okay. None of that is useful. How can I find out about the entrance that we've been told about? Maybe here? Reach the eastern coast or the wall of High Island in the middle of the night where the water is at the highest. A waterfall there, who knows which one? Yikes. Let's keep looking here. Man, I don't know. Fierce waterfall or gentle waterfall? Let's go for the gentler one. If it's an old harbour, you would think they'd make it easy to try and get in. Let's head for the northern one. 15 long minutes go by and the roar of the waterfall devours all other sounds. Here, the wall of the island isn't as flat as it seemed to be from afar, and the tide lets you reach a few high ledges, flat and wide enough for a boat. Even though it's dark, you recognise some old wooden beam, as well as a few copper rods, remains of an old structure. There's another boat, or rather a small chunk of it, tied to a post just a few steps away from you. All of you get out and scrape the hull against the ash-coloured rocks. Let's prepare the ropes. I think we guessed right. The cave behind the waterfall is maybe 30 feet above you, but getting to it will take some effort. The ancient stairs and handrails have mostly fallen apart, and the slippery rocks are nothing less than a trap. Do we make Zwei go first on his own? No, we have 5 strong souls here. Let's move slowly, helping each other at every step. Having someone always waiting in the back to help the others climb up may slow you down, but your progress is indisputable, and you have enough time to secure their safe way back. Zwei, take a rope and go first. We'll climb after you. He snorts, but then rolls up his cloak and easily jumps between the shelves. He attaches the rope to one of the rods that sticks out of the wall, allowing you to follow him. I've got no more tricks. It's time to climb. I got hungry. With the bright night on your side, you look for convenient ledges, but one of the steps betrays you. You slide off, painfully, scratching your knee against the wall. You take a deep breath and carry on, your limbs growing quite tired, but you manage to reach the top. You pull yourself up into the dark mouth of the cave, the remains of the original stream. I light up a torch and examine the area. The stream roars above you. You light up a torch. The long, dark tunnel is moist and full of bats, which, surprised by your presence, flee into the deeper corridors. Finally off the damn boat! Dalet's voice regains its colour slowly. Her soaked hair is now maybe 1/8 of its regular volume. Ephron looks around and takes off his hat, as if you've just entered a tomb. The remains of the harbour aren't any more dignified than a pillaged hamlet. The mould and insects spared only a few scraps of wood, while the scavengers scraped clean any pieces of steel and copper. You run your eyes over the spread stone tools and the scratches left by dragged carts and hulls. Ahead is a brick wall with no door or hinges. Your crew prepares a few torches, enough to last maybe half an hour. Prepare my equipment and get ready to reach the surface. For a few more minutes, you walk by the remnants of the past dwellers. The scraps of fabric, stone bowls, a spot with broken chairs and a table. You walk past a few anxious bats and salamanders, and plenty of spots from which water drips into the tunnel. Sooner or later the stream will break through one of the countless cracks and reclaim its old bed. You freeze when your light touches the black and creamy fur of the beast. Not sure if you should run, you give the monster a chance to turn its boulder-like head, capped with a single horn that's the size of an adult human. The creature may be as large and heavy as a house, but its eyes open one at a time, slowly, as if they haven't decided yet if you're really here. Yikes. Alright, I look left and right. The creature almost fills up the width of the tunnel. Your crew looks paralysed, with eyes wide open. You lower your voice to a whisper. Okay, who's going to be the best one to talk to? They all hunt monsters. Who's the most experienced at it, though? Maybe Ephron? He takes off his hand off his lips. Stay calm. What about you, Dalet? She scoffs. Brought any giants with you? Or living dragons? Any thoughts, aged dear? Her lips barely move. Dunno. Touch it. Let's hear it, Zwei. Yeah, why am I a hunter? I sigh, I'll handle it. Who's a sleepy nightmare monster? Maybe not. I'll walk around it. Shout at it. Raise open palms. Nice cave you've got here. I'll just walk by you, alright? You talk for a bit longer until the unicorn lowers its head and lets out a loud snort, hitting you with the air from its nostrils. You take a step closer, then walk around the creature's bear-worthy fur. Doesn't sound like any unicorn I've ever heard of. Before you get behind its rear, you have to put your boot on a rock to step over the outstretched leg. The beast returns to sleep, while your allies look at you as if you're crazy, but obediently follow your command. I lead them towards the exit. Only a few boulders separate you from the deep woods. The song of the sea and the hum of the stream are overshadowed by the screeches of beasts and their prey. While there are some rusty remains of an old cart and the gentle slope was carved by tools, it leads you toward a wall of shrubs and creepers. You get on top of a large rock. There are no roads in sight, but you spot a humble trail made by hooves and paws. The worried looks of your crew are as lost as you are. I think about the map from the giant statue. While the path doesn't lead directly to the volcano, it matches the ancient trail of stars that's meant to take you to the main road. If it still exists. Let's follow the game trail then. It may be narrow, but proves to be firm and straight. The plants that surround it grow from the remains of the old road, hardened with rocks. An owl gives your group a curious glance from a branch above your heads. After a few minutes you reach what seems to be a proper trail, beaten, wider than a wagon, and leading both towards the volcano and away from it. Among the thickets you spot the remains of the stone wall, long since collapsed. For now we'll stick to this route. The further trail is canopied by overhanging trees, blocking the moonlight. You hear panicked hooves and flapping wings, but you can hardly see anything. Egidia steps ahead and looks around. Brought me late. What can I do? What's my magic option? I fill my axe with the light spell? Or the lantern? I mean, we rarely use our magic, do we? Let's use our magic. Let's fill our axe with the light spell. You put your pendant in your teeth. The white flash makes you blink, but then remains as a static glow. You move on, free of the limits of the night sky. I ignore the curious looks of my crew. Just pay attention to the sounds. The familiar yells of howlers fill up the path ahead. The monkeys are moving among the tree crowns, barely visible, and the longer you're around, the greater the pain thumping inside your skull. Their territory is vast, and they don't need to attack you to wound you. I don't like these dice options because the failure usually goes badly. Any tips, Ephraim? Huh? He pulls out a piece of wax from his ear. What are we waiting for? You've no earplugs. Use this. He grabs a candle and cuts away small chunks of it. You roll them in your hands and follow his lead. The howling becomes muffled, but as long as you have ears, some of it will reach you. What would you do, Dalit? She loads her crossbow. Thoughts, Egidia? Want me to shoot? I'm ready. Let's hear it, Zwei. He's keeping a thumb in his ear. Well, they won't catch me. I'll help you, if anything. I shoot one with my crossbow. You pull the trigger and your target lets out a scream as it falls into the lush bushes. If you can, shoot them. Egidia is fast, but just barely scratches one of the jumping monkeys, though it's enough to throw it into a panic. Dalit lands a precise shot into a beast's head, bursting it open and splattering its contents. You look around. As the number of monkeys dwindles, their noises don't bother you as much. You take a few steps down the road and the remains of the pack move back, letting you through. Now or never. Run! The relief is short-lived. The pond ahead is swarmed with buzzing insects, and, judging by the bones of a dragonling you see on the bank, they're as hungry as they are numerous. The only road ahead leads through them, and you may lack the strength to walk around their feeding ground. We should go through the woods for a bit, save the supplies that we have. The light you're carrying is not of great help here, but it helps you scare away a few curious cats. At one point, Zwei almost fails to dodge a falling branch. He leaps away but tumbles down the hill. He struggles to keep up with you, even after you reach another part of the road. I lean against a tree, taking a few breaths. I can see the volcano from here. You reach a humble valley. The trees here are sparse, and the stream, while gentle, has completely distorted the path. At least the moonlight can guide you. The black saurians, covered with yellow spots, are too numerous to count, laying just a few steps away from one another, from the grasses to the branches. Most of them are asleep, but a few of the closer ones give you curious glances, sticking out and hiding their forked tongues rapidly. The beasts aren't massive, maybe 2 steps long. You look to the sides. The hills are impassable. Let's examine the surroundings. You recognise vaguely the shapes of the fruit trees and shrubs, but no animals seem to browse on them. You crouch down. The road is marked with fresh prints left by various creatures. Thoughts, Egidia? She shoves an arrow back into a quiver. There's too many of them. What would you do, Dalit? She looks around with care, then speaks thoughtfully. Animals use this path all the time, so I doubt these saurians are dangerous. I don't know why she's Irish now. And they mostly eat fruits, not meat. So I doubt these saurians are dangerous. And they mostly eat fruits, not meat. Yeah, we did not see anything browsing though. Any tips, Ephraim? He blows out his cheeks. The one you and I saw was a hunter. Maybe these ones aren't aggressive? Let's hear it, Zwei. He gives you a small sack of wild plants, mostly fruits that he collected during the last hour. Yeah, throw them some, he shrieks. Maybe they don't care for meat. Alright, let's throw something from my bags. I give them the fruits from Zwei. You throw the saurian a few fruits and rolled up leaves. Distrustful at first, it steps closer and takes care of them with but a few chomps. I throw them the meaty bits from my food rations. You approach the nearest creature and toss it the tasty scraps. It keeps moving its tongue but steps away. Let's move slowly, drawing as little attention as possible. Your careful steps are greeted with hisses, but the beasts either stay in their spots, not bothering you as you walk around them, or move out of your way, crossing the stream. A few of them don't even wake up. The valley once again turns into a lush forest. The path here is even narrower than it was before. I might actually eat one of my rations. Oh, I can't use it right now. Okay. A glance at the volcano, halfway there. Can I have a ration now? Let's do that first. The path ahead is overtaken by the thicket, but the fatigue is catching up with you. The remains of a hamlet have no dwellers other than rats and snakes. We should rest here, you say to your companions. You find a flat rock, cover it with your cloak and let yourself sit idly for a bit before you open your bags. You may not find another time to have a few bites of food. Well, we've just done that. Zwei makes an annoyed scoff and keeps wandering about, examining the shrubs and bushes. Egidia sits by the ruined tower by herself, wipes her forehead with a cloth and takes her boots off. Dalit sits down on another rock and grabs a bone comb. What a mess, she giggles. Ephraim seems anxious at first, but finally sits down on the ground, turned towards the entrance and takes off the head of the wolf. I try to figure out where these ruins used to be. Judging by the stone wall and the now collapsed tower, it could have served as a shelter for 24 humans at once. There are no remains of any sheds, working stations or tools, and you see nothing unusual about the surrounding rocks and plants. Are you in one piece, Ephraim? He waves you off, constantly observing the entrance. You look down at his eyes. She gives you a playful smile but says nothing. A new ponytail reveals her small ears. I look at Egidia. She returns your gaze and gives you a kind smile. She's ready for the next challenge. Are you hanging there, Zwei? Yeah, very green, this forest. He sounds as if he's talking to himself, but then brings you a few wild fruits. Yeah, I found more than I can eat. I let my back and limbs rest for a bit, then prepare my tools to cut through the bushes. Time to carry on. You climb to the top of the wall and get a look ahead. The trail must have overgrown only recently, but the thorny bushes won't be crossed easily. Reaching the beaten track that leads to the proper woods will take some effort. Any thoughts, Egidia? See those harpies? She points above you with her bow. Let's wait near longer. What would you do, Dalit? Buy a sickle sword, I guess. She lets out a weak giggle. Any tips, Ephraim? He reaches for a prickle. Well, I assume we can't go back. Let's hear it, Zwei. No, I can't fly, he mutters. Let's divide the labour between all of us. That way we'll let our arms rest. While not every soul in your crew is of great strength, you make slow progress. I have no more tools to help me. Got a bit hungrier. The work is tiring and would go faster if it wasn't for the harpies circling above you. Once you reach the next section of the trail, your stomach growls from hunger. Make sure there are no thorns stuck in your pants. The road goes straight forward, suddenly getting much wider. The ground is surrounded with collapsed branches, trampled seedlings, and dead roe deer. But judging by the beaten path and the pebbles under the surface, this trail is as old as the previous ones. Okay, we're going to think about the map from the giant statue again. You've no doubt that this trail is the main road to the volcano, but it's not the only route. According to the stars portrayed on the statue, there should be a shortcut somewhere around here. A narrower one, but much more direct. The check if the shortcut's still there. Behind a few fallen trunks you find the remnants of the path. The rotten, dug-in wooden stairs leading up the hill offer no support, but there's plenty of paw prints on the ground and claw marks on the trees. It's now a convenient game trail. I call the others. Let's see if this path is clear. The narrow, twisted path takes you to a creek, then down the human-carved tunnel leading through a rocky hill. The closer you are to the volcano, the more signs of humans you find. The abandoned tools, the overgrown fences and fire holes, the fruit trees and trimmed, centuries-old oaks. The ribbon of smoke hides the stars behind it, though you still can't smell it. The mountain's upper half is black and grey from cold lava and ashes, while the lower half is mostly green, with short but lush trees and thriving flowers bathing in the moonlight. You see the shape of an open gate at the end of the road. This is it, the path to the volcano. The stone posts are dark from dust, but as good as new, even though the crooked planks and the wooden leaves are beyond restoration. Seeing nothing on top of the wall, you enter the partially buried ruins, with humble buildings sticking out from the layers spit out by the volcano. It takes only a few breaths before the first enemy jumps on the road from the roof of a ruined hut, and your crew prepares their weapons. It's a head shorter than you and walks on its hind legs, but has the head of a raccoon, though its ears are too small, the fangs too long, and the eyes resemble those of an ape. Despite its human-like posture, it leans slightly forward, with arms curled up. It has no tail. It keeps sniffing, as if it barely sees you. Next is the boar-headed beast, with two sets of remarkable tusks and bristles instead of puffy fur. Then they're joined by two long-tailed rat folks, and a fox folk, and a lizard folk. "Don't panic," squeaks Zwei, hiding in his hood. I look for the leader of that pack. The tallest one of them all is the beast with deer antlers. It steps forward and crouches down, touching the ground with an open palm. It doesn't make a sound, just pierces you with its almost human eyes. Its pack blocks the twisty path forward that is carved in the mountainside, narrow and completely open from one side. You think of the tales taught to all children in the Dragonwoods. The beast folk may be destructive, but if not threatened, they're willing to trade. You've got some food that you could offer to the creatures, but it's not enough to fill this many stomachs. However, you could try to get through them once they get distracted. Zwei gets closer and starts to whisper, "Make at least one of them go away and I'll clear the path for us." I observe them more closely. They wear no clothes and carry no tools or weapons. You can't tell if they're hungry, muscular, or healthy. Their shapes resemble no creature you've seen before. Thoughts, Ajidi? Her hands are shaking. "We shouldn't be here." "What would you do, Dalit?" Give them heart of a dragon? Some flesh made of pneuma?" She shrugs. "Only no tails." Any tips, Ephraim? "There are no beast folk in our woods." He straightens up. "Are they even animals?" "What about it, Zwei?" He nods and reveals his blade. "Ready when you are." How many food rations do I have? I've only got 4 left. Could give them a food ration. They're waiting for more. How about a bunch of wild plants? Waiting for more. 1 more ration. The deer steps closer and eagerly picks up your offering with its hands, then turns around as if you're not a threat. It then sits down at the threshold of one of the ruined buildings and starts to chew your gifts. I don't really want to get through by force. Can we not just go past them? Starve to death if I give away any more food. And 1 more ration. The rats leap forward, grab the food with their teeth, and then run as if they're in a panic. They disappear behind a rock, chased by the lizard. What spell have I got? With a few of them gone, we could try and get through them. Now! You wave for the others to follow you and put every breath into your legs heading up the path. The beasts, more surprised than anything, step away. And while the boar tries to chase after you, the others stay idle. Soon your crew leaves the ruins behind. Let's hope there's another path down. The howling wind pushes your crew up the short path between the tufts of grass, sparse yellow flowers, dormant ashes and trails of cold lava. Your legs, unused to such long wayfaring, ache. Dalit kneels down on the poorly lit ground. Someone was here... I haven't got hold of her voice at all. Someone was here long ago, she says, but went only in one direction. I follow them slowly, looking out for animals. There aren't many signs of the past dwellers. The burnt cart, the collapsed shed, the digging tools made of antler or rusty steel. The trail ends at the cave mouth. The leaves of the gate are made of stone, now ajar. You push aside the battering ram. I drop my heavy bags on the ground, be ready to fight in narrow corridors. The light you're carrying guides your group through the complete darkness. The polished walls of the tunnel, free of pointy rocks, were no doubt carved by human hands. Your steps are loud, unlike the gentle draught in the deep stream. You pass by another corridor, buried by the mountain. You gesture for the others to stop. Something behind the corner kicked a rock that is now rolling on the floor. Asterion? The ghastly scream of a human-like throat makes you take a defensive stance, but, despite the passing breaths, no attack follows. Holding the light in front of you, you reach the next chamber. The undead is furiously squirming in its attempts to release itself, alternately pulling the spear that's nailing it to the wall and reaching towards you, as if it's hoping you'll fall into its embrace. There are no other corpses in sight. The creature must be starving. Edged ear covers her mouth, stopping herself from screaming. Zavai adjusts his cloak, hiding his dagger. Well then. Dalit gives you a worried glance. I'm sorry. Ephron takes off his hat and holds it in front of his chest. Let me take a look. The half-rotten flesh and the worn, torn tunic tell you little. But Asterion's short shell is still wearing the mail you were told about, now rusty, even more clangy than the new set. Some of the red hair and beard remain on the monstrous, pale face, but most of their strands are all over the floor. The knees of the creature are shattered. Next to them rests a large rock. Okay, what do we think happened to him? Knees are shattered next to a large rock. He was betrayed, or maybe fell into some sort of a trap and crawled in here. You step closer. The undead does its best to throw itself at you, but it's not strong enough. I raise my blade. A few blows to the head should be enough. When the shell stops moving, the dead hand is still clenched on your gambazon. The corpse leans forward, loosely resting on the haft of the spear. The pieces of the skull are scattered over the chamber. Your crew remains silent. The light flickers. Let's examine the cave. The centuries-old treasure spread among the collapsed racks and chests is mostly beyond use, but you do notice a few tools and statuettes made of now green bronze. Judging by the simplicity of the chamber, it was likely little more than a basic storage room. The corridors leading to the deeper caves have all been buried by time. I search the shell's bundles. 20 dragon bones. Zwei is eager to assist you. Among the decomposing, soggy bags and pouches, you find a humble bunch of coins threaded on a bowstring. Far from the 50 that you were asked to find by Pelt's innkeep. Other than that, you find no potions, weapons or travel kit, only a few unassembled torches. I look at Aegidea. Are you alright?
Ah, shit fire.
Her shoulders slope as she walks away.
Is this nae weird? How souls like his get swallowed by the forest, while Tice sits on her throne of dragon bones? She gets weaker and weaker from that illness of hers, but still has enough breath to lie and scheme. Ugh, just stupid.
Let's collect the useful scraps of bronze and iron. Since you have quite a few capable hands with you, the clangs and rattles last for a bit, even though you take only the most promising pieces to avoid encumbrance. Let's get back to the boat before the sun rises. You spare the corpse one more look. I should burn the bones. You surround Asterion's shell with a few wooden logs and some of his own possessions. Smoke drives you outside. The fresh air makes you yawn. You grab your bags and approach the edge of the scarp, observing the woods of High Island. You recognise the trail that led you here from the Valley of the Saurians. Let's try to follow the same trail. We should be able to reach the harbour before the low tide. You help your group tie the boat to the piling. Egidia, worried about Roach, is the first one to enter the hamlet. The others start to plan their return home. Dalet makes sure her crossbow didn't suffer from the salt water. She's seasick again and doesn't say much, but her giggling remains as honest as ever. Ephron has a wide smile and keeps raising his voice. "I knew I'd be all right," he announces as he pounds his chest. Zwei holds his black, soaked cloak in his hands. He says he can't wait to put your coins to use and leave the peninsula for good. I rub my eyes and follow Egidia. I better get ready. You scratch Roach's neck, take off your bundles, splash your face with cold water. Now you need to take everyone to safety before you stop somewhere for the night. You're going to end the day at... How about Foggy Lake? Still got food there. The grass in the animal pen has managed to grow back a bit, which your mount welcomes with droopy, relaxed ears. The tavern's windows and doors are open and a bunch of furs are spread over the place. "We're fighting bugs," says the shorter man when he sees your look. Let's enter the tavern. The place is messy, but quiet and warm. Foggy looks at you through the hole leading to the attic. She gets down, having only one arm doesn't seem to hinder her. She welcomes you with a stentorian, cheerful shout. "Hello, love! Good to see you in one piece. I'd like to eat." She stretches out her arm and grabs the bowl. "Oh, give me a moment." You sit down at the clean table. After a moment, the keeper brings you boar offals, a couple of carrots, and a refreshingly cold cup of water. Once you're done, Foggy packs the leftovers for you as a snack for the rest of the day and mentions that you've already paid for another 0 meals. Alright. I found Asterion. After your story, she lets out a chuckle. "Huh. So that's what he's been up to, going there all by himself. What a dumb boy." She sees your look and shrugs. "What can I say, love? He wasn't of much use. I wish I could get the head of his lizard. It would look plenty fine. Oh, there." She points at the bug's trophy with her broad chin. Is it night time? We can't sleep. Got a bit of time, though. Can't get to the pelt. Who else might be interested in hearing about what happened to him? We should probably do a little loop just telling people about Asterion. Let's go to Gale Rocks then. The fishers have returned to the village, but the work is still far from being over. You see lights and smoke coming from the eastern part of the village, with the fisher being gutted and prepared for smoking. The guards instruct you not to disturb anyone after dusk, and tell you should visit Fulvia, who may have a room to spare. Soon after your arrival, someone asks you about your day, and as you look around, you see many smiles and hand waves. They've really turned around on me, haven't they? Which is cool. We should go to the bathman. You find him when he's collecting empty buckets around the village, ready to carry them to his regular spot at the bridge. "What is it, outsider? Got dirty? Tell me about your services." "I'll pay 0, please, to be nicely cleaned up, thank you." We should find the cook then as well. "I'd like a meal. I'll have a free meal, please. Thank you." Step away. The armourer. Look for new equipment. Oh, he's just got the quarrels, isn't he? Well, Rafina the tailor might help us out. What can you do for me? Yeah, let's get our clothes tidied up a little bit. I don't think we need anything else. Checking on Photius's daughter. No, he doesn't want to talk about her. Go and see Severina. We'll tell her about... Doodad. I won't read the regular thing. It's always the same here. Let's follow the guard inside. Severina puts away her writing instruments and looks at you keenly.
What's the matter?
I don't know what voice that was.
What's the matter?
I found a Asterion on High Island. As you speak, she pours water from a pitcher to a seashell and responds without looking at you.
Right, well, he knew the rules, the same rules you broke.
She takes a sip and licks her wrinkled lips.
But I guess you're still in one piece, so I won't dwell on it.
Right, fine, farewell. It's only an hour before dusk, so I don't think we're getting anywhere else. We could pray at the temple. Haven't done much of that. You kneel down, trying to focus. You've no doubt this place has heard human prayers for centuries, and you try to echo these voices with your own words of praise and request, travelling through generations built on trust. Once you finish your prayer, you feel like you've touched the cradle of humanity, finding comfort in a cave that, sometime in the past, gave birth to a human tribe. Get back on my feet, dust on my pants, and step outside. Let's sleep. I guess we'll pay the rent. "5 days left. If the peninsula hides any more secrets, you may not have enough time to unravel them. Then I shouldn't waste another hour." I think I'm largely done, though. There's probably lots of stuff I haven't done, but I just don't have any idea how to do it. Yeah, people like me now. But we're going to quickly drop off at the cook. We're going to have a free meal. Don't mind if we do. Looking pretty good otherwise. Travel. I guess we'll go to Foggy's, then we'll go to Creeks. I wouldn't mind stopping off at this Wanderer and just leave them some food. Can I actually buy any rations here at Gale Rocks? I don't think so. 2 bunches of wild plants. They'll barter for it, but... there's not a lot to actually buy here. And the meals I buy at Foggy's, they're not rations in my hand, are they? Where can I buy rations from? It's pretty much the Pelt of the North, isn't it? That's miles away. Would have been Howlers, but I'm not welcome there anymore. Alright, well, it's by the by, really, I think, at this stage. Into the tavern. I've spoken to Foggy already, haven't I? I'm going mad. Let's go up to Creeks, then. A group of woodcutters wave to you from the copse growing by the river. Both the path and the yard behind the gate bears fresh bloodstains as well as claw marks. Don't really need any of their services. What does old Hava got to say? I need supplies. Can I buy things from her? We can actually buy a roast chicken. I might leave that at the statue. Alright, what about Ela? He's preparing the planks for a simple tabletop. He smiles and puts away his tools. Welcome back, friend. Good to see that you stay safe on the roads. Let's talk about the patrols you want me to pay for. His carving slows down slightly. What's the matter, friend? I know from old Hava that your tribe needs your contact with Foggy more than I need your coin. 2 dragons for a day isn't enough. He thinks about the words for a few moments before he surrenders. So be it. 3 it is. That probably relates to the day of stuff, but I don't need it now. I've got 17 dragons left at this stage. Asterion is dead. I found his shell. He sits down. You consider walking away, but he finally speaks, though with hesitation. I'll pass his story to the tribe, though in a bit of a gentler way. He sighs and looks at your boots. I can't believe he found nothing. Why would he listen to a legend? Didn't he know there's so many of them they can't all be true? He adjusts his jacket, scratching his side with an absent look. To think he told us nothing, and about such goblin-brained thing. He raises his eyes slightly, and seeing his clenched lips, you realise there's nothing else he can tell you about it. I'll see you later. I guess we travel on. Let's go and see if we can leave the chicken at the statue. Before you cross the bridge, you're told to wait by Ela. There's one more thing, friend. Ever since we said farewell to our hunting friends and siblings, the tribe of Creek sees we're lacking fresh blood, and then we got too cocky with these woods and roads. If you think that this is a good place for you... His dramatic pause is betrayed by the shaking lips of his concealed smile. You could stay with us for however long you'd like. We already voted on it, and to be honest, you're quite popular. His laughter is so honest you can't help but feel warmth in your stomach. I like creeks. I'd love that, friend, but I need to finish a few things first. He spreads his arms. Do so! The 10 cities may take a step back from your life, but it's not like we're hermits. Close this old chest of yours and come back. Just don't die before spring. He's standing a few feet away, not sure what to say. I step closer and hug him. I like Ela. We're going to hug Ela. He smells of wood shavings and mud, but also cooked meat. You stay in a brief embrace without a word. After a few breaths, he heads up the hill. I also walk away without looking back. Roach is observing the monkeys moving on the surface of the rock face, swinging its tail. Let's travel. Yeah, so we're going to go down to the Wanderer. Loud toads are sitting on the banks. Some of them observe you with large round eyes, ready to hide in the water. The statue is left to itself with its purpose forgotten. In about half an hour I could use my axe to cut down the branches and twigs. You tether Roach to the tree, letting it choose between drinking, grazing and napping. You prepare your equipment, keeping an eye on the bush where you saw the rabbit's last moments. Use your weight to move the plants to one side, then cut right above the ground. The stems are healthy and flexible, so getting through them is rough, but you have enough strength to deal with them in a couple of minutes and then throw them into the lake. The work goes on for a bit, but once you're done, the statue stands in its former glory. A couple of old offerings are still on the pedestal. Polished rocks, bone figurines, and mouldy bowls and plates that used to store food. In one vessel you see a dragon bone. It's dark and could be older than a generation, but it would surely be accepted by any merchant. Well, we're going to leave that behind. It's only one. We don't need a dragon bone that much. I make an offering to the Wanderer to ask her for protection. Your surroundings are silent. I'll put a fair share of food there. Lost a food ration. On top of the cold stone you form a small pile of dried fruits, nuts and a sausage. There's no sign of Wanderer's gratefulness. She doesn't bow, nod or smile. Not a single beautiful bird sits down on her head. No squirrels show up on the tree. After a minute or so you return to your mount, feeling tranquil and prepared. Right, we're going to head on to the tribe of Green Mountain, I think. Before you reach the gates of the village, you hear the sound of a horn, a bit different from the one you'd heard upon your first arrival. Soon after, the fully equipped Saurian rider lands in the middle of the road, making Roach stop. Oh dear. It's not a place for you, dirty soul, she solemnly announces, scowling at you. Our friends warned that you pillaged our homeland. After a pause, she shouts, "Get out or die!" Seeing her hesitation, she makes the green Saurian leap forward and raises her spear. Your mount tries to make a turn. Yikes, not a place I'm not welcome. Let's head to Eudocia's place then. Right, she's going to let me in. Go straight to her house. Eudocia's leaning against the fur that hangs from the wall and stares at smoking incense, though she extinguishes it once you show up. Asterion is dead. You describe your expedition, but she pays little attention, observing the ends of her hair. Just tell me what happened. Your vague answer is met with a sad yet accepting smile. Too bad he chose to die alone. Let's trade. Okay, it's Numa stone. I never did use mine. Let's go outside. 2.5 hours before dusk. Can we get anywhere useful? We actually can get back to the Pelt. Exactly enough time, so let's go there. The lights are promising a refuge. The guards have bows and spears in their hands, and some rush to the gate only to close it again right after you ride inside. Bored with life, Roadwarden. One of them grumbles, and you notice it's almost dark. It is, just in time. Get off my horse and go in the inn. The strong fire in the stove lightens up the hall, though the whispers between the guards are tense. The innkeeper uses a broom to remove the spiderwebs from the corners of the hall. The scavenger is sitting in a corner napping, though he winks at you when you look toward him. Julia glances at you from a corner as she's inspecting her sparse possessions. Let's talk to her. I found Asterion. Julia doesn't interrupt you, nodding as she's keenly listening to your tale about clues and rumours, the old tribes, and the awakened corpse. She ponders for a bit, looking at the oven. So what do you make of it? Not the brightest death I could wish for someone. He knew the danger but took the risk anyway, a fair end to his journey. You two had this in common. I wouldn't travel to a wild island. Her smile turns into a chuckle. You're lucky to still be here. I smirk, says the gal who spent half a year in this shithole. Ha! I know. Her laughter starts strong but gets cut by a harsh cough. I trusted my group too much, but that's still a safer bet than risking your head. Yeah, from now on I'll stay on the roads. Well, at least your bravery didn't go to waste. Asterian's family won't be happy to hear the news, but they'll be able to move on now. Good job. It would be a waste to lose your potential. Better take care of yourself. That's the plan. She stretches out, heads upstairs and brings you a few items. There's enough of them to make her stumble, but she covers her embarrassment with a chuckle. Well, this is my part of the deal. She rests 2 weapons against the table. You remove the cloth wrapped around the spear's head. It's sharp, made of steel. The shaft is made of thick oak. Asterion must have had pretty large hands, and is partially covered with linen cord and leather straps, intended to support one's grip. The bow is currently unstrung, but it would be about 5 feet long. The polished red oak shines in the light. You wonder if you're too old to be able to learn how to shoot such a weapon. I look at the things on the table. The leather pouch must be decades old. You shake it. There's a few bones inside, but also something made of metal. You reach for the earthenware bottles. 3 of them are very similar to each other, as small as your fist, and are all sealed with wax, though the tiny sticks in them will enable swift opening. Julia explains that they contain small amounts of a healing concoction. The last bottle is much larger. There are 2 letters engraved on its surface, unknown to you. The soldier has no idea what it is. Finding space for it amongst all my bundles won't be easy. Roach spares you a glance as you reach towards your bundles, but then returns to its nap. You take a deep breath. You could have taken the easy way out, but you didn't. Your back, buttocks and legs are aching from the long journey. The first night you spent on the peninsula could be a lifetime ago. Yet, you're still here. And who knows, maybe even rich. Have a look at our inventory then. Asterion's bow. Could sell it. Healing potions. A mysterious bottle. Iron scraps we could maybe sell. Long spear. I think we sleep. Don't really need a lot. It's free rent anyway. Rent free, I should say. Your dreams are chaotic and vivid, mixing the animal fangs and blood from the recent days with the most deeply rooted events of your past, which shaped your soul as it is now. You're sweating and keep waking up, not sure if these thoughts are memories, visions, or your imagination. You stand up, walk around and breathe, slowly, deeply, focusing on the movement of your stomach. Thinking about my recent stay at Creeks. This journey was meant to be the foundation of your new life. But as you think about all the things that would await you in the city, you're exhausted. You observe the scratches, cuts and bruises you earned this summer, and while you're sure the stories you carry with your shell are worth something, you know this fall and winter won't bring you any rest. They may be but another fight, and you don't know how much more you can endure. But considering what the people at the village told you, there may be another way. may never be able to build a future for myself without giving up on my life in Hovleven. I should think about staying with the hunters. Okay, well, I knew I was going to risk it all. I face beasts and scoundrels. I won't let some merchants take away from me what. No, we're gonna stay at Creeks. Let's take this option. Our maximum vitality has grown from 4 to 5. Very nice. I completed my goal, a new life. Cool. This thought is not easy for you, but once you fully shape it into words, a sudden wave of tiredness hits your shell. Some sort of tension has left your soul. You don't have to stay on your path, you hear, or maybe say. I lie down and return to sleep. And it's rainy and muddy. Alright, we're going to tell the innkeep we found a Asterion. You tell an abridged version of your story, during which you struggle to read anything from the innkeeper's eyes. Once you're done, he tensely moves his shoulders, waiting for something. I've already spent the coins I found in the cave. I'm afraid he had just a couple of dragons with him. I don't know where your share is. He rubs his hands together and cracks his knuckles. Me and heap shit on his ashes. Looks like I've been conned. The darkness of the room gives his eyes an ominous look. People used to welcome Roadwardens with trust. Order-bringers, my pa used to say. How war changes things. He raises his hands and looks at his pink open palms, contrasting with his purple skin, though in some ways, for the better. He looks down. I'm glad you're trustworthy. Getting to an island like that ain't an easy feat. This peninsula needs people like you. There's too many things happening away from everyone's eyes. Do I have anything you'd like to buy? Quite a lot as it happens. The iron scraps, 6 coins. Deal. Asterian's wine. What's in here? Without asking for permission, he opens Asterian's bottle and sniffs it. Once, twice, 3 times. Some cheap wine, but still wine. 6 coins should be enough. Deal. I've got more iron scraps, so let's say another 6 coins. How many have I got now? 35. What about Asterian's bow? Didn't it belong to Asterion? He takes it for a moment and makes sure there are no other cuts or defects. Well, we have some bow fighters on the wall. 11 coins? Deal. I've got a crossbow anyway. That's it. Got any leftovers? No. Show me your wares. Let's buy 3 filling meals. That'll do. Outside. I mean, we could go round and tell everyone else that Asterian's dead, but I think at this point, I think this might be the end of our story. I think I've kind of achieved the things I wanted to achieve. Didn't really do anything with the undead. He wouldn't speak to me. Didn't find the runaway for the bandits, but then it sounded like they were going to kill him anyway, so I'm not that motivated to go out of my way looking for him. Let's go and join Julia. Summer's almost over. We should travel back to the city. She shrugs. Well, if any city rat is going to criticise me for getting out of here before the end of my watch, they can jump into the sea for all I care. I can head back whenever. Are you all packed and ready? She rests her hands on her knees and then straightens up. I am if you are. You look outside. It's early enough for you to reach the settlements on the other side of Hag Hills. Let's introduce you to Roach. You're going to be spending a lot of time together. The owners recognise you in the Bless the Empress Inn. This time around, you've got a few dragon bones to spare, and you spend the night in a proper bed, holding a mug of steaming pigeon soup. The days fade away slowly. With Julia by your side, you can't simply outrun the autumn predators, and a few times your journey gets violent. She's a good companion, though you discuss only the most crucial events. After all the fighting I did in the north, the road isn't too rough. After 2 days, you join forces with an encountered caravan. The roads get wider and harder, and you meet the first patrol of soldiers. Wait here, says the lieutenant in the last village you visit before reaching the city walls. Oh, it's a woman. Without explaining, she approaches a few red-haired farmers that are Oh, the lieutenant. He means Julia. Wait here. Without explaining, she approaches a few red-haired farmers that are observing you curiously from the bench in front of their pit house. After exchanging a few words with them, Julia gestures towards you. The Roadwarden is who should be thanked for finding him. Oh, it's Asterion's family. The strangers keenly listen to your tale. Then, with smiles clouded by grief, thank you for your bravery. A man who looks younger than the rest can't stop his tears once he hears his pa has been spared the cursed fate and found his end in the flames. After a silent yet delicious meal, you resume your journey, carrying with you their names and invitation. Maybe I'll meet with them in spring. After taking care of some chores and meeting a few friendly faces, you leave your mount in the stables, which, as it often happens, are almost empty. Your eyes are used to the unusual conglomerate of ruins, the makeshift huts and sheds, the restored, whitewashed houses, and the few well-kept residences that managed to outlast the invasion. The streets are busy, with plenty of children and their young, working parents. Hovleven may have been sick in the past, but it's been healing patiently. Having no close friends working in the alehouses and inns, you take your belongings to the guild's public warehouse. It's a costly service, but sure to save your treasures. You then stay at a cheap tavern in the harbour. You listen to the rumours, but as the minutes go by, no one approaches you or asks for your help. The trade goes fine, you hear. The city chief has a daughter now. The new ship is ready to sail. The taxes are coming. The corpse of the tentacled monster that recently entered the streets has been claimed by a vendor, and they're selling it skewered. I keep to myself, enjoying the calm before the storm. The noises of the drunken crowd hinder your sleep. You head downstairs and fully wake up only after you get served the remains of the last day's supper. A bowl of now mixed fried crickets in various spices, as well as a mug of hemp tisani. I don't know how to say that word. Judging by the arguments of the labourers and the raised voice of a priest's sermon, Hovleven is returning to work. When the messenger shows up, you let out a sigh. The merchants want to see you in an hour. You spend some time at a small public bathhouse. You wouldn't be allowed in, the one for the rich folk, and prepare your somewhat clean outfit. In the streets, you blend in with the working folk. On your way, the familiar faces spare you a few nods. But, as always, the city folk are too busy trying to outcompete one another, seeking dignity in the realm that belongs to the rich and the priests. I'll buy Roach a few apples on my way back. After a few hours of exhausting examination, you lean against the wall observing the arguing leaders. Their jewellery and colourful fabrics could provide for many northern families, maybe even pay for a new stronghold. You wouldn't recognise the priests of the United Church if it wasn't for their familiar faces.
"At least you had more luck than that poor wretch,"
mentions one of the traders. No one here remembers Asterion's name.
"The news you brought from the island is of great value."
You ask for something to clear your throat. Your detailed description of the peninsula made quite an impression, and you may be asked to speak with a cartographer later, and getting in touch with so many northerners helped you describe the complex web of connections. You fill the gaps in your report. You discuss the recent disappearance of a trading caravan, Eudocia's stubbornness, the few times you crossed the heart of the woods, the way you reached High Island, the shelter by the northern road, the now flooded mine in the south. Still, it's your dealings with the tribes that will have the greatest impact on their decisions. I relax and wait for them to address me. The oldest soul at the table, who started her life in the guild as a simple innkeep, smiles at you.
Where do you think we should start, Sir Boring?
What do you mean? One of the artisans chips in.
We need to discuss this in detail, of course, but we can't bring guards and builders to all the villages at once. Since you know the peninsula better than anyone, where do you think would be the best starting point?
Best starting point. How about Gale Rocks? I don't know much about Old Pagos. Gale Rocks is more experienced in trade than any other village. Together you can skip the difficult first steps. And they were somewhat on side, weren't they? After 5 days, you take part in a brief meeting in the guild's chambers. You're welcomed by a few clerks.
The discussed investment will proceed further, though with great caution.
You finally hear.
Your services are much appreciated.
You return to the street with a wooden casket, heavy with dragon bones. It's enough to help you start a new life. I'll buy some seeds and tools and reach creeks before winter. Yes. The flow of merchants and supplies was slow, but steady. The decades went by, but the tribes kept their distance from the city folk, seeing in them only trading partners, but benefiting from the safer roads, restored shelters, and new inventions. While the trade route was focused on the eastern trail, Pearl to the north gained quite a lot from the Roadwarden's visit, allowing the innkeep to purchase steel traps for large game. A few years later, the inn was sold to the city officials and remained one of the few shelters in the dangerous north. One of the new guards was Julia, who arrived to Pelt soon after losing her squad, seeking stable work among the hunters. While Howler's Dell wasn't at first considered a crucial part of the new trade route, Tyus's charm managed to bridge the gap between her and the council representatives, and if there were any objections, they were muffled underneath her iron fist. However, lacking in resources, the village could never fully be free of its dependence on the other tribes. More and more words of the city folk sunk into the speech of the locals, and as time went on, their customs changed. After the priests of the rite arrived, the mayor was among the first souls to convert. The influence of the druids began to dwindle, but they haven't said their last words yet. Egidia, it's difficult to pronounce. Egidia never forgave the sins of her neighbours. Afraid to face her mother, she decided to leave the peninsula in spring, forming a group of adventurers who were eager to save innocent lives even without pay. While she couldn't reverse the destruction of Steep House, her noble deeds helped her spend her nights in peace. Steep House didn't stay alone for long. The people of Howlers arrived with tools and torches, taking away anything of value and getting rid of any evidence of their wrongdoing. Soon, the only things left were a few loose bricks in the paved square, surrounded by the awakening forest. The tribe of Old Pagos lost many lives to the plague, but the supplies brought to them by their friends from Gale Rocks helped them overcome the harsh winter. Thanks to the revitalised trade route, the locals returned to their craft, providing an essential material to the now growing security of the northern roads and settlements. The tribe kept their savings for the darker days, which indeed came rather quickly. Tertia, torn by the plague, started a long journey. She finished her duty in the distant south, buried by a sandstorm in the lands of her ancestors, where she protected those spreading Right's teachings. Quintus stayed on the wall for the first few nights of autumn, but then, lured by hunger, got caught by an unusually patient Treant. Oh dear, we did tell him he could go to the Pelt in the north. Oh, we never gave him the money, did we? We had loads of money at the end. We could have given him the money. Oh, poor Quintus, never mind. While Hovleven wasn't eager to directly support the monks, the easier access to supplies almost allowed them to finish their work on the library in stone. However, their poor planning led to a disaster. After a violent earthquake, the mountain collapsed under its own weight, burying many souls alive. White Marshes, facing growing pressure from the soldiers and inquisitors, buried any routes that connected it with the rest of the peninsula. Troubled, yet isolated, it collapsed after Aurentius' sudden death, becoming the largest fortress of the undead in the north. After years of waiting, the growing strength of one of the skeletons gave it a human-like mastery of Pneuma. This mage began a long campaign against the tribes and caravans, feeding on their blood, until its army of shells crossed Hag Hills, where the villagers had shorter walls and fewer blades. Wow! How about that? We've unleashed an army of the undead. Wow. Huh. Man, maybe we should have done something about White Marshes, eh? The poorly guarded Foggy Lake was among the first places taken over by the wave of undead coming from White Marshes. The fire that occurred during the break-in consumed the entire hamlet. Oh dear. Oh my god. Creeks couldn't withstand the undead wave. Of the tribesfolk who sought help in the woods, only a small group of woodcutters survived and found shelter among the fissures of Gale Rocks. The other locals soon joined the forces of the skeleton mage. Wow. Oh my goodness, we've killed the entire peninsula. The people of Gale Rocks didn't need much time to experience improvements. Selling the excess of fish and salt, they received much needed crops and tools and strengthened their ties with the United Church. In the years to come, their days were good and, for the most part, remained the same. The road leading through the heart of the forest remained abandoned, reserved for the times of great need and hardly ever maintained by the soldiers from Hovleven. While she no longer had her tribe's support, Glaucia kept raiding the people of White Marshes, but once her supplies ran short, she got reckless, and, after a few seasons, was killed by a lucky arrow. Eudocia put the bronze rods to use, sending her creations beyond the boundaries of her sight. Bored with work and having all the resources she needed, she sought joy in her work, sharpening her senses with snakebait, day after day, until her heart stopped beating a year later. Oh dear. Soon her residence became overrun with beasts, making nothing of the stone sentinels. The tribe of the Green Mountain, worried about the growing presence of the city folk, ended up blocking the trail that connected it to the rest of the peninsula. Every once in a while, the rumours of pagans of weird tongue seen by the Eastern Trail spread among the merchants, but a keen listener would notice that such tales always differed when it came to describing the tribe's clothing, weapons and skin. So boring, the Roadwarden of the Northern Peninsula spent a few seasons with the people of Creeks, sharing a few colourful memories with them before the arrival of the skeleton mage. I don't know, maybe we got out before everything was crushed by the undead? Was Tyus right? Wow. Huh. Well, I didn't expect that. I mean, that's an ending, isn't it? And it's kind of reflecting the fact that we probably spent the least time of all the settlements at White Marshes. It was trickier to get to, there wasn't very much to do there, the people were unfriendly. They didn't really ask me to do much for them. I don't know how else I could have gained the trust of the sort of the chief of the village and spoken to Arentius. But you know, that's great. There's so many paths and avenues in this game that I didn't take that I'm sure other players will. And I think people are going to see very, very different endings depending on what they did on the peninsula. But it was, yeah, cool. I mean, this was a really cool game. So I hope you've enjoyed the series as much as I've enjoyed playing it. And if you have, then please check it out on Steam. It's not very much money at all. I think it's about £7, $10, something like that. But well worth it. I mean, there are reports it takes about 10 hours to play. I mean, I guess if you're speed reading, it might, because there is a lot of speed reading in the game. But certainly playing it the way I did and reading everything out loud, I mean, I guess it probably took me upwards of 20 hours. So, for the cost, I feel like it's a sizable experience. It's a fairly original game. It's fairly unlike anything else I've played, really, and just really cool. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for following this series of Roadwarden, and I hope to see you again on Boring Dad Gaming, where we're going to... it's coming up to October now. It's the 28th of September as I'm recording this, and for October I'm looking to play some sort of spooky, creepy games. I'm not really into horror games as such, but the stuff with certainly eerie elements, just to sort of get into the spirit of the season a little bit, that I'm looking forward to playing. I hope you'll join me then. So, one last time, thanks very much for watching. Please do hit the like button on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. In the meantime, I hope to see you again on Boring Dad Gaming. Bye for now.